is especially for Aldemar. And my grandma would write to your dad's grandma, and she called her her girlfriend and her pen pal. And she, your great grandma Elizabeth, your namesake, she absolutely loved a good party. And I know she's looking down from us today, and she's so glad that her girlfriend can be here at least. So that's from your great grandma Elizabeth. And I'm the mom, so I will touch on everything that everyone said today, but from the beginning, Kate. So fate had, I guess your brother and I's fate had it that you would be born via C-section. But as soon as your heart beat outside of mine and you became your own person, Kate, you definitely owned your own fate and put your stamp on it, because your arrival was precisely on time, methodical, effective, fast, and you were cute and adorable, just as you are today. So basically, you've carried on your life every day since that day in the same manner. At the moment you were handed to me, the thing that is most poignant to me was your eyes. There was so much behind those big eyes, some insurmountable depth, not depth. And I was so happy because you fulfilled the dream I had of always having a daughter. You know, I'm a girly girl, and you were born with this huge head of hair, and I don't know, you were 2 minutes old, and I clipped a pink bow in it. Yes, so from the moment you were born, I had so many dreams for what my little girl would do, and you surpassed all those dreams and taught me more about, you know, and widened my view of femininity and what a woman could be. Another thing that I remember, not at the time, but you were born with a teeny hole in your heart, and I was so distraught, and I was so worried that I was going to have a sick and very weak child. Well, you surely kicked that one in the ass, Kate, because you were the strongest little girl and the strongest baby, who could be, as in time would tell, would be physically capable of anything. Another thing about that day that's really special, and I think it was in the song, on the day of your birth, we were so lucky. We had so much family. You had great grandma, you had both sets of grandparents, you had aunts, you had your brother, you had your cousin, and the truth is, I feel their presence and I see their spirit in all of you. You are from a very long line of really strong women alive and past, and I see their spirit in all of you. Definitely far more in the kitchen. Your Aunt Jenny, when you're being effective, your sensitivity from Kristen, inquisitive from Betsy, they're all within you, Kate, and I see it. So it's, as I see time and I see you grow up, I see glimpses, and it's this, as a mom, it's this sort of maternal line passing, and it's definitely your own person, but I see big pieces of you from all of these fantastic women that are your blood. As a baby, I could sense your sensitive soul. There was always so much behind those eyes, and as a newborn baby, I carried you in a sling everywhere, and I even brought you to Italy, and my mom thought I was nuts. Just your small foot would hang out, and all the Italians would say, "Oh, bambino." But mostly I said, "It doesn't matter, Kate's fine as long as I hold her." But as we got home to Stillwater, the Blue House, we mostly spent our days chasing your brother around, and you were sweet and content until you had enough. And that's, then at dinner time, you would scream, and you were tired. And we had this awesome giant rocking chair, and your brother would sit next to me, and we would rock you to sleep, and you were so happy to go to sleep on your own. But you had your silk pillow and your silk blanket, and you wanted to go to bed early, and that's when our first discoveries of similarity was a like for fine materials and early sleep. And I was happy to have an early bird in the family. It wasn't so long, 9 months or something, till you joined your brother, and you were jumping and running and content and sweet to do everything. As a toddler, when you grew, you were very sweet and adorable, and your hole closed, and your personality came out with this sweet heart. And the only Norwegian word that you knew, and it was so funny, you didn't know any Norwegian, but instead of saying no, you would scream, "Nei," to me, and I don't know why. It's like, were you so sweet you didn't want to say it in my own language, but you would scream, "Nei." It was your only. Maybe you remember saying that. This was your word. And as you grew, and I spent our days just chasing you and Spencer around. We went everywhere. We went to every park, every museum, every bookstore. These were some of the happiest days of my life. We just played. I was a terrible cook. I was a terrible house cook or keeper. We only played all day long. These were fantastic days. And as you know, the story came that we left the U.S. and I was heartbroken and sad, but I've told the story at Spencer's confirmation, so I won't go into it. But if it wouldn't have run for your brother, I wouldn't have taken care of you guys and your love. I wouldn't have survived that move. And it really was poignant for me of my purpose, and it was you guys and your happiness. When he came to Norway, we were quite busy. We actually we went right away to go visit Marian, and I asked if you guys remember when you were 2, but of course you don't. And it wasn't so long till Caroline came along, and you had fun days with Farmer and all of her fantastic grandma work of projects and cooking and baking. And as Caroline came along, and I forgot to mention, I bought you so many dolls, but you were never interested. But when Caroline came, she was your real doll, and I was lucky that you took interest in her, because you did everything for me. You were my helper, and you would pack bags and you would feed her. And then when I made your video and I look at pictures, I thought, oh my God, she was a baby, and I was just bossing you around to do stuff, and you were a baby yourself. Those days went fast, and Caroline came, and we were busy, and you still had this, sensitive shyness about you. So as you went to Truvang, I was quite worried about how it would go. But you did fine, and I remember, and I talked to Andrea's mom today. When we went to Truvang, Andrea was shy too, and Kirsty and I were concerned. But as you guys saw each other, you held hands and just walked into school, and her and I both sat there and cried. And you did fine in school. It was all of a sudden Siri was there, and you opened up, and we met with your math teachers, and I understood why you didn't want to play with your dolls. You didn't have time for frivolousness. You needed some things that were logical, and that's why you had always enjoyed puzzles and scissors and making things when you were small instead of playing with Barbies. So academically you did well, and socially, and there was obviously you excelled eventually, and in sports as well, and starting with Dad driving and Farfar driving you to Ferda twice a week, and I think that helped your confidence grew and your voice was surfacing. But there were still times where you'd be so wrought with worry that you would get physically sick. Do you remember the night before we left for America? Kate, she threw up. She just was full of anxiety, but I knew it wasn't the flu. Like, we can get on the plane. It was just so much emotion built up inside. And so obviously your confidence continued to grow, and you've done so well at Kvala. Like Olaf had said, it's never a problem for you. When we go to parent-teacher conferences, it's just like, when we have to write those 2 goals, it's like, well, it's we have to search for what Kate can work on, which you did well today, Kate, because you spoke slow. That was one of our goals. But today, at present, at this milestone, proud is not the way that I can describe how I feel, and it's really emotional, because you're my heart walking around exposed. You've been hardworking and disciplined, and are a resident baker and chef with this dry sense of humor and keen intelligence. And I always tell you, and I've told you on your birthday this year, that I always tell you I could give you the world if I could, but I know now you don't need me. So go for that, Kate. And I love that your voice is finally surfaces, especially around your friends and at school, and you exude strength and independence. And I've always been in awe of your strength. And speaking your truth, exceeding in sports and school, and that you're soft and confident at the same time. With your strong legs and your often bruised biceps, coming home from football sweaty, I don't think that you could be more beautiful. But also remember too, having a loud voice, there's always time for grace and poise. And so there's still something to say about knowing that and being a respectful lady. So I'm old-fashioned, but I still believe that there's value in that today. As your mom, I have a million wishes for you, but I wish a million more. And just some quick advice for life, and then I have some longer advice. Quick advice is as you move on and have roommates and friends and move from home, remember the 9-minute rule that we have. To not have your room look like the next episode of Hoarders. It's my quick, also, there's never a chance for a second impression, so eye contact and speaking clearly will get you far in the world. I think that's important. And also I always harp on social media. You know how I feel about you guys protecting your privacy, and that it's important that my children don't become a consumer product, that you are people. And also about social media, there's something to that I just want you to understand, the balance of real life and social media, and where that ends, and remembering what it is to eat a meal without taking a picture, hugging a friend, laughing with your friends, and that they're pictures, you know, they're called filters for a reason, is that they exaggerate the truth. And I've talked about how proud I am and of that you're so powerful and strong, but don't give that power to other people for your self-confidence. You're beautiful. The face that you have is the baby you were and the young woman you're coming. And I think it's really important that you are conscious of the balance. And heck, I enjoy Pinterest. You know that we share recipes and hair looks and all these kinds of things. But it's just about finding balance, like most things in life. And another thing is, it sounds so simple, but I think in life, being grateful is a simple idea, but it's really hard in practice. If you just look out the window, there's so much to be grateful for. And as an American, you know our legacy is immigration. And I've now taken that journey for you. And the whole foundation of that is that our kids have better lives. And that's been my mission, that you have a better life and you have a life of opportunities and freedom. And I joke when I say that your Norwegian passport is like a lottery ticket. I say that, but what I really mean is that you are so lucky to have access to education and healthcare and be safe every day. And you're so lucky, and it's something that a lot of people do not have, including your family in America. You should be, it's something, and I don't want to push you, and it's not about material things, but use that access to education to match your intellect. We know you're smart as Whip Kate, so it's not about making a life with a fancy car and house, but making a life where you're independent and proud of, because you're capable. And I know that you can do it. So that's, I know that you can do it, and I want you to use it. And also about challenges. And the thing is that things have always been easy for you. Backflip, school, everything. It's just like, that's just Kate, that's just what you do. But in life, it is life that we come up, you know, we're faced with challenges and risks. So I know you haven't had to have many challenges academically or in sports or so far, but they will come. And you know, I spend most of my days, you see me work on these contracts, and I'm protecting the intellectual property of a product, which means that all that means is that you can work so hard and you can be 100% honest, and that you have built something and you've done it yourself. But you never know out in the world of IP or in the internet. There's always unforeseen risks or events that can occur because it's just words. So as I spend most of my days doing this, I think it's a good analogy to life. You can work so hard, be honest, think that you've done everything right, made the right choices, and something can come and knock you over. But what is most important, and it's a really important skill for life, is that you're able just to get up and keep moving, put one foot in front of the other. Having adversity is a really great coping skill for life, and I think it's important that you learn to try new things and fail, and ask for help when you need it, because we're all here to help, and we will always help you, Kate. And lastly, I'm almost done. Trust yourself. And my brain is not like yours. It's very random. So I have this theory of life is like connecting the dots. So what I mean by that is that just trust your heart. When you're faced with a choice or a decision, you might not know which way to go. But if you get quiet with yourself, I think that you know which way to go, and it might not make sense. But in time, as you look back, these connections, they seem to make sense, and your life path is connecting the dots, that it's the right thing to do. So I think it's important to just trust your gut and trust your intuition. You've always had a strong intuition, and you can ask for help if you need. So with all this advice, I can end off and just say I couldn't be more proud of you, Kate. I love you. You are my life's purpose and my best work, and I love you dearly. I hope you have a fantastic day.